Hello everybody, let us learn basics of Flutter, Flutter basics. How to create a new Flutter project from the Flutter starter app template using VS Code. Number 1, go to View, then Command Palette. You can also press Ctrl for Windows and CMD for Mac plus Shift plus P. Then type Flutter. Select Flutter New Project. Press Enter. Select Application. Then press Enter. Select a project location. Enter your desired project name. Your project will be created. How to create Flutter project from the terminal. Flutter create my underscore app. My underscore app is your project name. How to create a Flutter project in Android Studio. In the IDE, click New Flutter Project from the Welcome window, or File, then New Flutter Project from the main IDE window. Specify the Flutter SDK path and click Next. Enter your desired project name, description, and project location. If you might publish this project, set the company domain. Click Finish. Then your project will be created. Number 1, structure of a Flutter project, Flutter app or Flutter project. A Flutter app is built using widgets. It follows a declarative programming style where the UI is built by composing widgets which describe how the UI should look in various states. So it is like building blocks. Widgets are like building blocks. You place one after another, one above another and one under the another. Then your app will be created. Like a toy. Just in kids' toys, they place one piece after another, then a building or a machine was built, then just like that. The basic structure of a Flutter app includes main dot dot. This is the entry point of the Flutter application. Material app, the root widget that wraps the entire app and provides material design features. What is material design? It is designed by Google. Widgets. Everything in Flutter is a widget, either a stateless widget or a stateful widget, which maintains state. Then it is stateful widget, and where there is no state or it doesn't maintain any state, there is stateless widget. The app structure typically looks like this. My Flutter app. Under that there is a leaf folder. Within the leaf folder there is main dot dot, which is our main workplace. Then there is another folder Android, which is Android specific codes. Then there is iOS specific codes. then pubspec.yaml file, that is project configuration file, which dependency will be taken, which assets or pictures will be taken, will be included in the project or not, it's given in that file. Next, to main.dart. The main.dart file is where your Flutter app begins its execution. It contains the main function, which is the starting point for all Dart programs. For all Dart programs starts at main, we knew it. Inside this, you usually create Material app or Cupertino app for iOS Styles app. For iOS Styles app, use Cupertino app. Example of main.dart. Import within quote package colon flutter slash materials.dart. So you have to import material.dart like this. Then void main bracket open bracket close. Then second bracket open, and within that second bracket there is a function run app, and there is another function or class my app. Actually my app is a class. It initializes that class. The class my app extends stateless widget. So this my app class doesn't have any state widget. Const my app within second bracket super.key. Here it, nowadays you have to include that line also. You have to include the super. Then override, because it was given in build stateless widget, you have to override this function, write it. Widget, you have to specify this. Widget, actually this is abstract function, this is abstract method. Widget.build, widget build. Widget build within bracket build context. It returns widget, and that it gets one argument that is of type build context. We write it context or ctx. Then second bracket open, here second bracket close, return material app. Here it calls that widget. It has some properties and methods. Title Flutter demo. This is the text. Theme, it has some theme. Theme data bracket open, primary swatch. Again theme data has also, this is also a widget. It has some primary swatch property, colors.blue. Colors is a enum and it has blue, so that we can use easily the color. Then home colon my home page. Please note that there is comma after every line. Here is comma, here is comma, so that by seeing that comma, our formatters can format easily the code. Next, class my home page. Here it calls my home page. Now class my home page extends stateless widget. It also extends stateless widget. So you have to use that line super my home page. This is the function name within bracket, then within curly braces super.key. At override widget build, then within bracket build context, context. Then second bracket open, returned scaffold, bracket open, app bar colon, app bar, bracket open, then title colon, text, Flutter homepage. Please remember that this text is also a widget. App bar is also widget. This property, and this is the widget class. This is the property of scaffold. And then body. Then there is another widget, center. It centers everything within it, and it has one child property, child colon text within quotes, hello Flutter. Text, this text widget or text class has one positional argument. You have to, it is required argument. You have to give this. This is a text string. So within that body, then center, then text hello Flutter. Run app. This function takes a widget and makes it the root of the app. This run app. This is the root of the app. Material app, a widget that wraps the entire app, providing material design properties such as themes, routing, and localization. This material app does this material app. And this widget, it build method returns widget also. So material app is also a widget. Everything is widget. Scaffold provides a structure of the UI with app bar, drawer, and body. We used app bar and center. We didn't use drawer here. It's no, app bar and body, sorry, not center, app bar and body. Body needs a widget. It is the center. And there is also a property called child. Child needs also a widget. It is text hello Flutter. Okay. Number 3, material app. Material app is the main entry point for Flutter apps following material design guidelines. It is defined by Google. It is usually the root widget of the application. Key properties of material app: title, theme, home. Let's see. Title, Flutter demo, theme, here is theme data, primary swatch, colors blue, home is my home page, home. Title, the name of the app. Theme defines the look and feel of the app, where we wrote swatch, primary swatch colors.blue, theme data. And home, the widget displayed when the app is launched, that is scaffold, which provides a basic layout structure. That is what will be the main place of that app. That is home. Understanding stateless widget. A stateless widget is a widget that does not hold any mutable state. Mutable state means which cannot be changed. Does not hold any mutable. Mutables means which can be changed. So there is no state to be muted. Everything is immutable. It cannot be changed. Its appearance and behavior are defined at build time and do not change unless it is rebuilt. Its appearance, this build function, its appearance and structure is defined in the build time, and you cannot change this text from here, text value. You have to rebuild it unless it is rebuilt. So a stateless widget is a widget that does not hold any mutable state. Its appearance and behavior are defined at build time and does not change unless it is rebuilt. Example: class myStatelessWidget extends stateless widget. Then within second bracket, const myStatelessWidget, this one. Then within bracket and within second bracket, super.key. It sends a key value, that is super.key. Then override build, override widget build. It returns a widget. Build context, context. Then second bracket open, return text within quotes, I am a stateless widget, then semicolon. Then this build is closed, then this class is closed. Once built, stateless widget cannot change dynamically. It cannot change. Suppose you want to use a function, use a variable here. You may think that is ABC or str, where you store it the value as string value as I am a stateless widget. Then you then you change it hello world. It doesn't occur. It doesn't show anything. It will always show I am a stateless widget. So unless it is rebuilt. Once built, stateless widget cannot change dynamically. Use stateless widget for widgets that don't need to update their UI. Don't need to update their UI. Use stateless widget. Don't want to update their UI by themselves, actually. Next, understanding stateful widget. Now here is the complex thing. A stateful widget is a widget that has mutable state. It has something which can be changed. Unlike stateless widget, stateful widget can change its state over time, and when the state changes, the widget rebuilds itself. If you know, suppose React, it has a thing like this. When state is changed, then you have to rebuild that class or that function or that component. Here is the same thing. A stateful widget has two parts. One, the stateful widget class itself, which is immutable. The class itself is immutable. The state class that holds the mutable state for the widget. Two things. A stateful widget has two parts. The stateful widget class itself, which is immutable, and state class that holds the mutable state for the widget. Example: class myStatefulWidget extends statefulWidget. Then second bracket open, const myStatefulWidget like before. Then within second bracket, super.key, semicolon. Then override underscore statefulWidget underscore myStatefulWidget state. create state function, this is an arrow function, it returns underscore my stateful widget state. Please remember that when we use underscore at the beginning of anything, it is what? It is private. It is private to that file. And here is the class. We shall define one class which can be changed. This is a state class. And this returns my stateful widget state. What type it returns? This class type is returns. Then it create state one function is called, it returns that state. Now we defined the state class which holds the state underscore my stateful widget state. This extends state of type or state of which type? This is generic state of which type? Which type of state? This function, this class, my stateful widget. This state, it extends this type of state of this type, state of this my stateful widget. Something you may think it is complex. Yes, I am sure it is complex, but please try to understand that. This class, this is a state class. This extends because it extends states, and this is the generic value. You can use string, just like string. This is also a class. My stateful widget is also a class. It extends of this class. Now let's go under this. Int underscore counter is equal to 0. This is a private variable. It will be used under this class. Void, there is also a method which is private. Increment counter, bracket open, bracket close. And how to increase that counter? You need to call one function. This is called set state. And set state calls a function, calls a void function. Within set state, we send a void function which does the state change so that it will be rebuilt. This thing will be rebuilt, but this value won't be changed after that. This counter is not reinitialized. If you know React.js, you can find similarities within this useState. In React.js, it is called useState. Here, setState, we need to call this setState from anything which needs to be changed. And this setState calls a function. This is unnamed function, and which returns void. And within that function, there is something which is changed. After rebuilding this value, first one, suppose it is increased by 1, this one, then after when rebuilt, it changes that value, that counter. Suppose this counter will be changed, change that value. Now this counter became 1. So we need to see where this function is called. Then overwrite, widget, build context. Then within second bracket, return column. Column is a layout widget which stores one above another or one under another, this way. In vertically, it places something vertically. it has many children, and childrens are also a list of widgets. First children is a text counter colon dollar underscore counter within a string. It is replaced by counter. This counter initially it is 0. Then there is a button. There is a button widget, elevated button, and on pressed there is reference of the function increment counter. It is not calling that function right here. Here is the reference. There is no first bracket open, first bracket close. It's the reference or pointer to the function. It refers to here. So when this button is pressed, it calls this, and then this function calls that our good boy set state, which does the work, which actually runs another function. You can define that function in anywhere also, and we'll run that function here. Calls that, we'll name that function here. So when we press that button, that under increment counter function is called, and this function also runs this set state from here to here, and where there was an unnamed function under this, that is bracket open bracket close, then there is one within second bracket underscore counter plus plus. Okay, hope I can explain this. Then there was one child text, that is increment. What is this? What is this? This is the caption of the button. This is the elevated button, slightly elevated button is here, and this is the caption of that button. Now our elevated button is closed. Now that list is closed. This list has 2 widgets closed. Now this bracket is closed, and finally every second bracket is closed. Set state. This method is used to notify the framework that the state has changed, and it triggers a rebuild of the widget. Set state function. The UI can change based on the set state variable inside. Only build method is called, not this, not initialized. It won't reinitialize this one. It is called this only, this build function. UI can change based on the state variables inside that class, that is underscore my stateful widget state. Let's learn again. Understanding stateful widget. A stateful widget is a widget that has mutable state which can be changed. Mutable state means the state can be changed, and it will show its effect on the UI. That's the main thing. Without showing that effect, you have nothing to do. Unlike stateless widget, stateful widget can change its state over time. And when the state changes, the widget rebuilds itself. The build method is called again. A stateful widget has 2 parts. Stateful widget, class itself, which is immutable, and the state class that holds the mutable state for the widget. Example, class myStatefulWidget extends statefulWidget. This is of type statefulWidget. It extends that class. There we have to call the super, then const statefulWidget, then within second bracket, this is a shorthand, otherwise you have to colon super, you have to write. We have learned as in Dart, super dot key, then override, because it is already given that create state method is already written in statefulWidget, but you have to overwrite it because it is called myStatefulWidget state. It returns that class myStatefulWidget of instance of that class or widget, create state myStatefulWidget state. It doesn't return any widget, it returns a state. So it is called my statefulWidget state underscore, because it is private. What is private? Private to that class? No, private to that file, because it is defined in the file. It is defined inside a file, not inside a class. Counter is here underscore counter. This is private to this class, but this is in the above level. myStatefulWidget state, this is in the file. So its scope of privacy is the file. Okay, you got it? Now class underscore myStatefulWidget state extends state of which? State of which? Of type which? myStatefulWidget, that we defined here previously, myStatefulWidget. It is the class and it is statefulWidget of type statefulWidget because it extending that class. Int counter is equal to 0. Then we wrote a function underscore increment counter. What does it do? It calls a function set state. It was defined that, and when a set state is called, it does something. It actually changes a state, a 1 or 2 or any number of state, and it rebuilds. Main thing, it rebuilds that build. It calls again the build function, build method. So it gets one argument, that is a void function. This is a void unnamed function. You can write it named function also here and use that name here. Use the pointer of that function here. Just this function pointer is used here. And within set state, it calls a function, unnamed function, and within that function it is defined that counter underscore counter will be increased to 1, that is underscore counter plus plus. Then at override, widget build context. Then within second bracket return column. Then in first bracket children colon, and there is, what is column? Column is a widget. It build method, you know that build method has to return a widget class, widget object, sorry, not class, the object. So it is of type it returns type of widget class, and it returns the value instance of an widget that we have learned in our object-oriented programming. It returns column widget, and within column widgets constructor method, there is one thing, something called children. It has one or many list of widget class children. This is widget, this text is widget, this elevate button is widget, and as I told you, this text widget needs at least one of this positional argument. First, it will need one positional argument. What is that argument? A string. Counter colon underscore counter. So when it first starts, when it initializes, it shows it 0, counter 0. Then this button is closed. Okay, now this is closed. You have defined. Now next, elevated button. This is another widget. And you have to write one thing, on pressed method. On pressed, you have to send a function pointer, not that function pointer or function name. This is the pointer of this function, but it is not called here. After pressing, then it will call. If you use bracket open bracket close, this and this will call only again, only once, sorry, only again, not again, not once. Then it calls once, that is set state is run, but done. Then after pressing it won't do anything. So this is a pointer of that function. Then it has one child. What is the child? What will the button show? You can show here one icon also. Here text is there, and text string is increment. By pressing it, it will call that function. And what this function calls? It runs set state. So the counter will be increased, and counter will be 1. But then it does one big thing. It again recalls that build function, and in that case the counter will be 1. It founds the counter underscore counter 1. Again you press, again it does the same thing. Counter will be incremented, then 2, then 3. It's just like that. Set state. This method is used to notify the framework that the state has changed, and it triggers a rebuild of the widget. The UI can change based on the state variables inside underscore my stateful widget state. Okay. Key difference. Stateless widget cannot change its state after it is built. Stateless widget. Stateful widget can update its state and rebuild when necessary. Okay, you know that. Conclusion. Main dot is the entry point of your app. Material app provides material design, widgets, and app-wide properties. Without material app, we can't do anything. There will be nothing. Or for iOS, there is similar thing for the material app. For iOS UI, we can use Cupertino app. Use stateless widget for static content and stateful widget for dynamic content. Can you please tell me this text, this state This text is a stateful widget or stateless widget. Please remember, it has been changed. It is a stateless widget because when it builds, it changes something. It cannot change by itself. So it is stateless widget. Okay. This is the foundation of the creating basic Flutter apps. Understanding these concepts will help you to build more complex UIs with Flutter. That's all for now. Thank you.